What is going on? Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today what I want to get into is an offensive lineman from the Tennessee Titans. Now, yesterday, Taylor Lewan was cut from the Tennessee Titans, and I had a bunch of messages saying, Matt, should the Jets be interested in Taylor Lewan? And if this was 5 years ago, I would say yes, absolutely. But unfortunately, it's not 2018 anymore. We are in the year 2023, and Taylor Lewan really hasn't played very much over the last 4 years. He's played 12, 5, 13, and 2 games in the last 4 years. That means he's missed 4, 11, 4, and 15 games each of the last 4 years. That's just a crazy number of games missed. So I'm all good there. I don't think the Jets should invest in Taylor Lewan. The last thing they need is an injury-prone offensive lineman. Like, that is if I could think of a list of things the Jets could use, injury-prone offensive lineman is very, very far down the list of needs for this New York Jets team. They need someone to come in and play at left tackle, and you don't have to worry about him. Taylor Lewan, you're just waiting for that injury to come, unfortunately. But there is someone else on the Tennessee Titans who could become available that I would be much more interested in, again, if he becomes available, and that's Ben Jones, the center. And the reason why I say that is because apparently on Taylor Lewan's podcast, he mentioned that he heard Ben Jones was getting cut. Now, he has yet to be cut, and, Lewan was, moved on. He was cut yesterday, so it's been a little over 24 hours. They cut Robert Woods as well, which is another name that was floating around. But the reason why I like Ben Jones more so than I like Taylor Lewan is because he's been a little bit more consistent. He did miss time this year, which is kind of ironic because didn't I say that I don't want a player who missed time? But he's still a Pro Bowler in 2022. And the 8 years before this year, he missed one game. From 2014 through 2021, he only missed one game. This past year, he missed 5, but he's still a Pro Bowler. He's approaching his age 34 season, so this is not a long-term fix. This is kind of patchwork, but if my options are re-sign Connor McGovern or a 1-year stopgap in Ben Jones, and also, keyword also, draft a center in the mid-rounds to develop behind him for a year, that is a plan that I could absolutely get behind, because let's play the game for a second. If the New York Jets are trading for Aaron Rodgers, they are going to have to give up one of pick 13 or the second rounder. I think it would be the second rounder this year and the first rounder next year, but that is a conversation for another day. We could debate what it would take to get Aaron Rodgers. But moral of the story is you might not have one of your 2 first-round picks. So as much as I love John Michael Schmitz, and that's someone that I would love for the Jets to draft, plug and play kind of guy, number one, they might not have the luxury if they trade. And let's say they sign Derek Carr, great, you have both those picks, but you might also, Schmitz might not make it to where you're picking in the second round. So maybe that's not an option for you. And instead you can wait till the 3rd or 4th round, and grab someone who's possibly a tier below that you could have sit, learn, and develop, kind of like what they did with Jeremy Ruckert last year. They spent a 3rd-round pick on him, someone who I think is, a solid player, and I think eventually he gets to that point of being a pretty good player in this league, but they're going to bring him on slowly, and I think that's what you can do this year if you were to sign someone like Ben Jones. Now, just kind of to do the comparison between Jones and Connor McGovern over the last 3 years, so ever since McGovern came to the Jets in, 2020, 21, and 22, the 3 years that he's been with the Jets, and how he compared to Ben Jones' last 3 years. So sacks, Ben Jones allowed 2 sacks in 3 years. McGovern allowed 15, to put that into some context. Penalties, Jones had more, 15 to 10. Pressures, 47 for Jones. McGovern had 76 pressures. So essentially 30 more pressures in the 3-year period allowed comparatively to Ben Jones, and hits were pretty close. Jones had 12, McGovern had 11, so one more for Ben Jones. But to me, that would be an upgrade at the position in the short term, and then it also allows you to develop your guy behind him, because if you were to re-sign Connor McGovern, there's really no point in drafting a center in the mid-rounds this year, because McGovern's probably going to get I would imagine, a 3-year deal, somewhere around that. I think he gets another 3-year deal. And he might even be due a raise, which his cap hit or I guess his AAV, excuse me, was $9 million a year. So if he's getting a raise and getting upwards of $10 million a year, would you rather do that? Or again, if Jones is available, that's what this is contingent on, a 1 year, maybe $7 or $8 million a year, contract. You plug him in for a season, have, the young pup sit behind him and hopefully learn from him, and then plug him in 2024. That would be my preferred plan. Again, not necessarily the super likely, but I kept hearing Taylor Lewan as a potential target. I don't really buy it. I think if I had to pick somebody from the Tennessee Titans, and if you make that connection, and if Ben Jones is available, that's my personal preference. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. I will talk to you next time.